Adobe will close their downtown Portland office. 47 employees must move to either Seattle or San Jose to keep their jobs. Now, why not downtown Portland? Let's get into it. Here we go. So, Silicon Valley software company Adobe plans to close its downtown Portland office in August, consolidating work at company sites in Seattle and San Jose. In a Thursday notice to Oregon workforce's officials, Adobe said 56 Portland employees can continue working remotely, but 47 must move to either Washington or California, and another 2 will be laid off. Here's the corporate nonsense that they're going to say, right? At Adobe, we regularly assess the use of our offices to balance business needs with the ways in which our employees are using our spaces. And the company said in a written statement Friday evening, this has led us to expand our presence in some locations while combining or reducing our footprint in others. Now, if you got the option of closing down in Portland, Seattle, or San Jose, and I looked up the Seattle offices, and they're beautiful. They're on the Fremont Cut. You're on a little cut in between Lake Union and the locks, where you got the salmon coming in and out of Puget Sound and Lake Union and all of that. They're literally on the waterfront there. They overlook just a beautiful waterfront setting. Do they have some homelessness there? Yes, they do. It's Fremont. It's Seattle. So you've got some of that. You got some tents littered along the kind of river waterway there. Yeah, waterfront living cheap, right? And you got some lunatic people running around that part of Seattle as well, but not nearly as many as Portland does. So when a big company has the ability to pull that eject button, guess where they do it from? Portland. Portland's got over 33%. I think it's like 35% vacancy rate, but we'll get into that as well. Adobe has had a Portland office since 2018 when it acquired the digital marketing firm Marketo and absorbed its local employees. Adobe has been operating in Crowne Plaza office building at 1500 Southwest 1st Avenue, just south of the Hawthorne Bridge. It's also where the Oregonian Media Group leases its offices. Okay, let's take a quick peek at that, right? Here's where we are at. Your big red deal there. Get my yellow guy here. Okay, your big red is here, and let's zoom in a little bit. Now, main stage for the 150 nights of riots was these 3 parks, and I was at this park during one of those evenings with my son Brennan. And we stayed literally, let's go ahead and one more here. One more. Portland Marriott downtown waterfront across the street from Adobe's offices, where they're going to give up those office spaces. Now, the reason we stayed here, because it's a Marriott and I like Marriott, but literally we could walk just, a handful of blocks and we're at front row seat action of the 150 days of protests. We are there. We are front and center. So here you've got the federal building. This is U.S. District Court, federal building. And then you've got Multnomah County Court, Justice Center right here. And the lunatics would march up and down here. And then at night, I watched right in here, some just absolute nut job. Take not a pellet gun, but a paint gun and, load up a security camera that's pointed at the district court building. And then later in the evening, they would try and light it on fire. First day I got there, I stood on the front steps of the Multnomah County Justice Center and asked a cop, hey, what about Trump sending down the National Guard, Oregon National Guard, to protect this building and scooping people off the streets? And he informed me from right here that, hey, Sean, look up at these. It's a multi-story building. I don't know. Is it a dozen stories? Is it 20 stories? I don't know. It's one of those ones where you look up and you go, God, that's tall. What he said to me is no, nobody's scooping up people from the streets randomly. What you've got going is this office complex here has windows in it. And in those said windows, there are security cameras focused down on the shenanigans of Antifa and Black Lives Matter here in the park. So when they see somebody that they know they have footage of trying to damage a federal building, they will go out and arrest that individual. Problem solved. No issues, right? There was none of this. Well, Trump's just going around scooping people up. It's horrible. It's terrible. Nah, it was a known thing. Known thing. And then you've got various statues throughout here that just got demolished. Absolutely. I mean, the amount of destruction that I saw there was a public restroom, and I think it was in this corner or this corner, either the northeast or the northwest corner. It was so destroyed by, the mostly peaceful protesters. It was just hammered on. So my bottom line here is, if you're Adobe and your office is here and all this craziness is going on here, when you get the chance to pull the plug on one of your offices, you're going to say Portland. You're going to go, Portland, please. We're out. Are we out of here? Are we out? We're out? Man, that was a lunatic ride, right? I mean, absolute 7 years of lunacy for Adobe there. You know what? A lot of these folks think that there's nothing wrong with downtown Portland. It's great. We got some great beer, which they do. So I hear. You got some great strip clubs in the burbs. All right. So I hear. And you got some great food in Portland. And you know what? The downtown core, you're on the river. It's pretty cool. You got a lot of really cool stuff going on geography-wise. But then the far left extremists, the lunatics running around the city, they're the ones that you're like, not so cool. That's the stuff that everybody's trying to stay away from. Like this one here. Cash reward offered for info on prosthetic leg stolen from car in downtown Portland. So you're a drug addict. You're looking for your next fix. You need to scrap together 50 cents because oftentimes that's all it takes to get one hit of fentanyl that'll carry you for a few hours, right? One hit of fentanyl, 50 cents. So you break into somebody's car and you steal their prosthetic leg, and you're going to go get some money for that. That's how desperate people are in downtown Portland. Now, you can say all you want, which is, well, our crime's actually been dropping, and we've got this, and we've got that, and we got, just a bunch of nonsense. Well, okay. How about this joker? How about this guy right here? Man sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison after firing shots into a party bus in downtown Portland. Can you imagine having like a bachelor party, and you're getting hauled around the city doing some drinking, and all of a sudden this guy gets on your bus and just starts cranking off rounds? Not good.
Security video of an attempted murder in downtown Portland. That video from 2023 was released by the Multnomah County DA's office today, just hours after a judge sentenced the shooter to 17 and a half years in prison for charges that include attempted murder. Alma McCarty with that story.
This is a very violent case from March of 2023.
Video from that early morning incident near Old Town, captured by Chevron gas station cameras, first shows a silver car and the passenger getting out with a gun. A second angle shows what happened next.
And basically ran into a party bus and fired at least 6 rounds into that party bus and shot someone and seriously injured him.
Officers found that victim unconscious behind Dante's on Burnside with gunshot wounds to the stomach, thigh, and left arm. Multnomah County District Attorney Nathan Vasquez says as the victim recovered in the hospital, law enforcement worked to identify the suspect. A month after the incident, police arrested Dwayne Driver. Then, in December 2024, a jury found Driver guilty on multiple charges, including attempted murder. And it wasn't the first time.
You have an individual that's now been convicted of attempted murder twice. And that's outrageous and unacceptable. And so, of course, we're going to be seeking the maximum sentence when you have someone who is engaged in such violent behavior and endangered our community in such a way.
That previous conviction in Washington County dates back to 2014. Prosecutors say he was behind bars for more than 7 years. Wednesday's sentence carries more weight.
So you get the idea there. You got a bunch of lunatics running around. You've got a judicial system that doesn't really incarcerate anybody because, to do so would be racist. So we're not doing that. And so you've got street level conditions where a lot of the businesses are just cleared out, vacant storefronts, and you got people that are mentally ill, on drugs, or a combination of the two, just running around downtown Portland. And that is why same exact thing, San Francisco, same exact thing in Seattle. You know, you can point your finger at all of these different things, but the bottom line is if you don't have public safety being a major emphasis, hey, our streets are safe. You know, we're pointing at this and going, no, your streets aren't safe. And Adobe says as much. Adobe literally says as much. That picture of the Justice Center, that is literally the second building on that map that I was showing you. That's where all the bad guys go. You know, when they're not going to the federal building. Downtown Portland has one of the nation's highest rates of office vacancies among major cities, with nearly 1 in 3 offices empty. Office vacancies soared during the pandemic as many companies moved to remote work and others moved to offices in Portland suburbs. And the reason being is because they live in the burbs, so let's move our offices there. If we have to work like this forever, let's get out of the downtown core. And Portland, they let their street conditions go. They said, hey, it's the summer of love, coined by Mayor Durkin here in Seattle. This is the summer of love. We want to, encourage our people to exercise their First Amendment rights and to riot and to pillage and to light buildings on fire. And so they did. And they let Antifa, they let Black Lives Matter just do their thing. And this is what you end up with. Companies leaving because they don't want to be around the downtown core because you allowed it to be hollowed out and for the kind of crime that I just showed you to just take over. Take over. Wild stuff. How many other businesses have we talked about leaving Portland? Dozens and dozens and dozens. And yet, you know what the mainstream media is going to say? Because it doesn't look good for Democratic leadership in any of these cities. And they're going to say, well, big city crime, everybody's used to it. But when businesses have the option to eject, they eject from Seattle. They eject from Portland. If they're in an area of downtown Seattle that is sketchy, like the Cheesecake Factory is my prime example. Cheesecake Factory. I just had my son's 32nd birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Kieran. And we celebrated it by going to downtown Main Street, a bar called 520 Bar and Grill. And it was super fun. We had a good time. My son, his girlfriend, and my significant other. So just the four of us, we're hanging out. And he was like, yeah, I got to get to the Cheesecake Factory. He likes the Cheesecake Factory and he likes the setting in Seattle because it's kind of right in the middle of everything. You can walk out on the street and go, well, I'm looking for a fentanyl addict that's going to be standing on one foot, jamming a needle into the other foot in between their toes with no shirt on, doing a little dance. Can I see one? Oh, yep, there's one right there. It's exciting like that, right? But when the Cheesecake Factory, just a handful of blocks down the street from a tourist attraction, one of the biggest tourist attractions in the world, I kid you not, in the world, which is Pike Place Market. People want to go to, see the fish get thrown. When you've got Cheesecake Factory shutting down just a handful of blocks from worldwide attraction, that's when you know maybe street conditions aren't great. When Adobe leaves, when, Cheesecake Factory leaves, when Nike leaves Seattle. I mean, all of these stores have left business after business after business. And that's why even after the pandemic has been over for years, that landlords can't attract people into these cities because if it happens once, then the odds are it's going to happen again. And I'm talking about Portland in particular, where you had leadership that just basically gave up the downtown core to a bunch of left-wing lunatics, much the same in Chop and Chaz in Seattle. And we're still battling that out from the standpoint of I just did a podcast on Chop and Chaz. Chaz became Chop, where you've got a young man, a 16-year-old young man from California that was murdered literally murdered by Black Lives Matter / Antifa. We don't really know, but it was one of those two entities because it was the middle of the night and 30 rounds of gunfire at this incoming car that the 16-year-old kid was driving. They lit him up. They killed him. And the big story there was it's been 5 years, and yet we still don't have a suspect in the shooting of Antonio Mays Jr., I think his name was. And it's like, yeah, because the city doesn't want a spotlight on the fact that they greenlit, hey, Summer of Love, this is going to be great. This is going to be the best thing ever. They greenlit, Seattle police giving up a multi-block section of downtown Seattle, not downtown Seattle, Capitol Hill, but in downtown core. They greenlit that and they said, hey, police, leave your police station. This is going to be great. This is going to be the best ever. We're going to de-escalate things. Well, and then 2 black kids within a couple of weeks get murdered in a Black Lives Matter event. Make that make sense. And then Portland's got, 150 straight nights, whatever that was, of just sheer mayhem. No business wants to deal with that. Businesses don't want to deal with this nonsense. So when they've got the option to just basically jet it out of there, it's what they do. It's what they do. Portland? Oh, good Lord. We can get out of that one. You betcha. You betcha. But it's got such great beer, Sean. Yeah. That 30% vacancy, whatever it might be, kind of tells you everything, right? Facts don't care about your feelings, but I really like downtown Portland. I really like downtown Seattle. Okay. But businesses based on dollars, reducing risk, meaning you don't want your employees, your management, your customers getting killed. There's that. So there's a factor there as well, right? So is this a shocker? Absolutely not. Adobe, one of many, many businesses to say, we're out of here. We're gone. We're going to go elsewhere. We're going to do a bunch of corporate speak, and we're going to give our office back up, and you guys deal with it. Good luck with that. All right. Thank you for supporting Adobe. Hit that PDF button. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.